What's up, guys? Chris from Review Cave here, and today I have got another manga review for you guys today, and it is for the recent chapter of Black Clover. Chapter 241, The Mid-Air Battle. And this starts right off the gate from where we're left off with Asta as charging at Dante. And this is where the actual fight between Asta and Dante truly begins. So, Dante begins to attack Asta right after Asta basically charges right at him with a barrage of black slashes. Dante evades them somewhat easily, but then realizes that Asta is able to somewhat negate magical power. So, he uses his gravity magic to essentially rise up the ground and try and skewer Asta, but Rouge ends up saving Asta at the last minute due to how strong Rouge is. So, Dante ends up crashing into the Black Bull's hideout and essentially confronts Vanessa, basically saying how strong she is and the potential of her magic, and kind of hitting on her a bit by basically essentially saying for her to kind of be with him in a romantic way and stuff like that. But yeah, he also basically introduces himself as Dante, the leader of the Dante the Dark Triad. And in that moment, Asta shows up from behind him in his black form to slash him. He manages to evade, and Dante ends up moving away. He then realizes and basically says that it's a shock that someone in the Clover Kingdom was in fact possessed by a devil. So, what happens next is Asta continues to try and fight against Dante. In his black form, he is drawn to a strong magical power. This is something Vanessa states right off the bat as well. And Dante is able to evade Asta somewhat easily. Asta uses everything in his power to try and take him down. He uses the Black Divider. He goes with Black Meteorite. He misses. Ghost, as this is going on, as this whole mid-air battle between the gravity magic user Dante and the anti-magic user Asta, everyone's standing in awe of what's going on and how much trouble Asta is actually having to land a single blow on Dante and how he's able to evade everything so easily. We also confirmed that Dante's gravity magic has such a wide range. It affects not only the Black Bull's hideout, but everything around it, since Dante's magic is just that strong. So Ghost ends up getting on top of the Black Bull's hideout, and he basically states that if they take him down in their whole exile trip that they're doing right now, will end. Not to mention the war will pretty much be over because will be closer to being done, because one of the strongest members of the Spade Kingdom will end up be defeated. So Ghost reveals his mirror eye, tells Asta to look at him, and he creates a ton of mirror clones. And we have a ton of clone Astas charging at Dante with the Black Meteorite move. And this is on the look of Dante, he's actually surprised at this, like very surprised. Doesn't seem too worried, but he's shocked of Ghost's magic and being able to multiply Asta. Now, from what we saw back at the one of the first arcs of Black Clover, back when Patri pretending to be Licht was revealed, we saw that Ghost being able to basically clone someone with his mirror magic can also clone their powers, which means every Asta clone has anti-magic, and they're all in their black form, which means Dante may have been able to easily evade one Asta, but a barrage of Astas in the black form charging at him, and if all of them follow the same rules where they each follow high frequencies of magical power, Dante's going to have a very tough fight ahead of him. But then again, the mirror clones are kind of easy to take down compared to they're pretty easy to take down. But the fact that they're all anti-magic means that Dante has to be extra careful before taking them on. Now this fight starting off, it started off at the end of the previous chapter, and honestly, I'm really glad of what's going on in this chapter right now. Asta is kind of holding his own against a suppressed Dante. Meanwhile, with Zeno against Yuno wasn't doing anything to him. Even with the spirit of Zephyr trying to erode the bone, Zeno's bones were regenerating faster than Yuno could cut it, thus leading to Yuno losing. But since Asta is fighting with his black form, to get combined with Vanessa's fate string magic with Rouge, and Ghost multiplying Asta with his mirror brigade magic spell. This will be a tough fight for Dante. For all we know, in the next chapter, probably a few pages in, we can actually see Dante using his devil power. This will be insane because Asta and the Black Bulls against suppressed Dante can actually win if they play their cards right. Plus with the 6 months of intense training, their magic has definitely gotten stronger. But with the fact that Dante has yet to use his devil's power, means that there is still a lot of power for Dante to use. And everyone reading it, while the Black Bulls are holding their own against Dante, like I said, he's still holding back a lot. If we take the fight against Yuno, for example, even though Yuno wasn't doing much to Zeno realized that the fight would have gone on for a long time, and he probably would have gotten worn out. So he had no choice but to use his 55% of his devil's magic to take down Yuno. In this chapter, Dante does not go into his devil form. He does not use his devil's magic, which means he's probably just sizing them up. And in the last chapter, he basically said that he is just going to toy with them until Yami can show up, the arcane stage. But now he's got Asta there, an anti-magic user who uses a devil's power and who himself is a arcane stage. Which means if Yami shows up and Dante, for all we know, Dante will have to go beyond 55%. Maybe use full devil power, or maybe like 80 or 90% of the devil's power to take down Asta and Yami along with the Black Bulls. But you see, there is one thing that we all need to keep in mind during this fight. Charmy is not at the hideout. Charmy's still in the Heart Kingdom, which means Vanessa can't keep using Rouge's power for long. After a set amount of attacks, Rouge will disappear. And then the Black Bulls are basically goners. So yeah, we need to keep that in mind. For all we know, Dante could be running out the clock until the Fate magic is done with so he can finish them off. And then Yami shows up. He might end up taking down Yami and capture Yami. Maybe even capturing Asta in the process. But that's all we know. This was a good chapter in my opinion. It was a fight through and through. It was a classic Black Clover fight. It was a good one. Two very distinct magical powers fighting against each other in an aerial fight. We didn't get to see any aerial fights aside from the one with Asta and Yuno battling against Licht when he wasn't even awakened yet in the Elf arc. That was the only real aerial battle we saw. We're not counting the battle against the Devil because that isn't really much of an aerial battle. This was a great aerial battle, and I am really happy about it. But yeah, what do you guys think will happen in the next chapter? Do you think Asta may end up actually surprisingly beating Dante and forcing him to use his full power? Or will Dante just need to go up to at least 50% of his devil's power to annihilate the Black Bulls, and then Yami shows up to help save the day? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow me at the official Review Cave at Twitter and Instagram for updates on future videos and for future polls. But with all that said, have an awesome day, guys.